Hello, everyone, and welcome out to The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky, a podcast where I sit down with some of my friends in the local Columbus, Ohio theater, film and improv scene, and talk a bunch of geeky stuff. Some of it good, some of it bad, but all of it definitely geeky. If you enjoy our programs, be sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and to leave a review, or subscribe and leave a review wherever you can get podcasts. Support for this podcast comes from our lovely backers on Kickstarter, like Andrew, for example. Andrew is a guy that likes to go by one name, like Cher. And I'm not going to lie, he probably has a very difficult time going to banks and opening up accounts. I just remember when I worked at a bank, that was a problem for people who only had one name. So Andrew, despite your problems opening up accounts at banks across the nation, I just want to say, on behalf of everyone else, thank you so much for backing us on Kickstarter. Our official sponsor of the show is Audible. With over 200,000 titles to choose from, get one audiobook and 2 Audible originals each month included with your trial, even once your trial ends and normal membership begins. How rad is that? Best part is you own your library, meaning you keep the books even if you cancel with Audible. Plus, you get easy exchanges. So, don't love a book? Swap it out for free anytime. Sign up for your free trial over at audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky. Download the Audible app and start enjoying your new audiobook. We're also part of the It's All Been Done Presents Network, a Columbus, Ohio-based multi-platform creative network. Let us entertain you. We're also voted one of Columbus's top picks for 2017 and 2018. And we have tons of podcasts, written works, reviews, videos, and more. For more information, go to iebdpresents.com. In this episode, I am here with
Ella Pilardi,
Travis Horseman,
Becky Horseman,
Kyle Jepson.
And we're going to sit down and talk about Season 3 of Stranger Things on this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. And a word of warning that there will be spoilers of playing, not just on this, about anything in the 8. Actually, probably just anything. It's, you know how it is. It's The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. So, listener, beware. If there's anything you want to say about Stranger Things, the 80s, or anything else we talk about, join in the conversation by interacting with us via social media or email. Twitter and Instagram is username GoodBadGeeky, or email me at goodbadgeeky@gmail.com. We may read your comment on the show. Enough of me rambling. Let's get to the show. Roll 'em, Will. So we got the bases loaded, because I'm mixing my metaphors here on a geek podcast, where it's the only few metaphors I can do. Everything else I've learned from a George Carlin stand-up special. You want to go home. Go home. Baseball's home. A diamond. People love diamonds. Football is played on a gridiron on a square box. Cold, yeah. Anyway, that's all I know. That's not true. That's not true. That's all lies. But, no, we seriously have the bases loaded, so to speak, because we're here to talk about Stranger Things 3. This one filled up really fast. And I was surprised because I was like, I don't think people are going to sign because I want to talk about it.
Because you posted it before the season even premiered.
Yeah.
I think.
Did I? I felt like I did it after.
I'm not sure, but we have things to say.
We
so.
do.
Yes.
Oh, no.
We have thoughts.
We have
So
thoughts.
many.
Axis to grind.
We have feelings.
We have feelings? All right, so I'm going to start it off with, and I need to, you know what, let's sit it off at the top of the show before I forget, because this is the first time he's actually, before a podcast has recorded, our producer Will has come to me with a thing to say, and I gotta find it here. I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be. It's not as hard to find, though. But he was like, I would like to strongly reflect that I loved it, and I strongly, in all caps, believe that Hopper is alive in the Upside Down. Don't at me. And you know what? Because it's me, I'm going to say he said bro after that. He didn't, but it sounds cooler in my brain. But Will, that's what Will thought. Ella, we'll go around the table. What did you think?
About Hopper or the whole entire thing?
The whole thing.
I liked it. I've liked every season, though. I know a lot of people complained about season 2. They're all good to me. I am glad that we didn't get those people in Chicago or whatever this time around. Just because that was my only gripe about season 2. I definitely have gripes. I'm sure we'll get into them coming up here. But on Hopper, I definitely think he's alive because they plan on making a season 4, and I don't think you can have Stranger Things without him. So
yeah.
he's somewhere.
I agree. All right, Travis, I'm ready.
Well, I loved it. I thought it was stronger than season 2. Not as good as season 1, but definitely solid. I mean, I had all the feels, as everyone knows, I'm sure. Whether you like it or not, it had feels.
I hate feels.
Tons of
Yes.
feels.
Yes.
So many.
As much as I would like to see a full slate of Frankenstein's monsters, Monster Frankenstein,
Yes.
I have
watch
not
that.
seen that yet.
Still need to
No.
watch that.
Yeah.
David Harbour, Hop is alive. I personally think he's in the Upside Down as opposed to Kamchatka, but time will tell.
Yeah. All right. Becky.
I agree. I loved the season. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I think Hop's still alive. Because if he is dead, then I will cry all of the ugly crying tears with heaving sobs, and I will go around with horrible Muppet face and swollen eyelids for like a month. And I don't want that to happen, so
So he has to be alive.
he does. Also, Joyce Byers. Everybody underestimates her, and she's a badass. She is fantastic. I love her.
What's wrong with my magnets?
She's so smart. No, everybody underestimates her, and they shouldn't because she's. God, I love her.
So we need a chance for her to maybe save Hopper and
Yes.
kick some ass without his help.
Which goes
Yeah.
into my theory that, I mean, if Hopper is dead, his death was not earned in the slightest.
Oh, I agree.
No.
But however, I kind of am along the lines of I don't think that he's the American that is referred to.
No.
However, I also don't know if I buy the Upside Down. I think I posted a meme on the closed
Yes.
scheduling group where I kind of believe in almost like a Winter Hopper theory, like the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Where I really want there to be a moment in season 4 where
Oh, yeah.
Joyce goes, "Hop?" And he turns and goes, "Who the hell's Hop?"
Yeah, and literally it's
It's a superimposed face. Yeah.
Winona Ryder on Steve Rogers and then Hopper's face.
I do not get this reference.
It's from it. Yeah,
It's
From the
It's
Winter Soldier,
Winter Soldier.
Captain
Yeah.
America.
Everybody here, yeah, we know you don't.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, it's okay. No, the real problem is when we try to explain it and you're just like, yeah, I've moved on.
Either
Yeah.
way,
Which makes you never want to watch the movie even more.
right.
Right.
Well, that's kind of like I had an older roommate named Brandon who has never seen a Monty Python movie because he spent his entire childhood getting Monty
enough.
Python quoted at him. So now he never wants to see it, which I kind of get, but I'm also like, you poor baby.
Sad.
It's not fun to get it on the back end like that.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Anyway, but along with most of your all's
Yeah.
thoughts, I thoroughly enjoyed season 3. I also thought it was a little bit stronger than season 2, and I mostly base that on rewatchability because I've already watched the season
That's a
twice.
big yes. Yeah.
And yeah, I still hate Billy.
Oh, I have
did-
things to say about
About Billy.
that
Yeah.
whole
Well, hey.
quote unquote arc.
All right,
Yeah.
so I enjoy it, and to me, yeah, rewatchability. Even the first season, while it was really good, so I watched it first, and then I got my wife to watch it like a few days later. It was really good, but it was kind of a slog to get through up until we got to the Christmas lights, which I feel like it was like episode 3 or something.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
it felt like, oh my god, there's only
It took-
8 episodes.
It took its time.
But it's still really good. It's like it's exactly what it is. Season 2, I felt dragged, but the rewatchability isn't there until episode 7. After 11 does her weird one-off that Ella was talking about, where she's in Chicago, and it's
Yeah,
just
the
weird.
emo 11
because that's when
episode.
Steve and Dustin really kick into gear, and that's when you're like, oh, I just
Oh,
love
yeah.
Dustin and Steve. They need to be together forever. And then this season
then they are.
furthers it. Yes, but
Best relationship on that
but
show.
I still enjoyed season 2, but like rewatch it, like I wanted to rewatch all of the season almost instantly. Like I would just randomly watch random episodes, not in order, just because like I'm gonna watch that one part again. Well, that's
Yeah.
2 episodes
And
ago. I'm
across-
gonna
across all the production elements of it too, because I saw someone posted how like the season 3 soundtrack is kind of like almost a quintessential 80s soundtrack with the songs that they played, and like watching it again I was like, yeah, it's pretty solid.
if you want, I can out nerd you a little bit.
please
A little bit?
a little bit. Let's go.
A little bit. So at the end of episode 6, I don't even remember what was happening in episode 6 because I don't remember like episode to episode. Like I watched it,
Yeah.
but but I'm watching it. I'm like, gosh, that music. I wonder if it was influenced by Philip Glass. It sounds like Philip Glass composed it.
Oh shit! I don't know who Philip Glass is.
He's a minimalist composer. Philip Glass totally composed part of the soundtrack for episode 6.
And there's your band nerd tidbit.
Hello,
Damn.
I'm a nerd.
Damn. That's I did not know that. That's no. I really enjoyed the season. The rewatchability is through the roof. It also it's the most Spielbergian of all of them. In my opinion, in a good way, in terms because I feel like when Spielberg is firing on all cylinders, the rewatchability of the movie's there. Even like if it starts dragging just a little slightly, it just you want to find it like the build up to the monster, the mind flayer and his human like that's totally Spielbergian, and also like I just am excited to watch it, and it's fun, and then the payoff, which I really love, which is the song. I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's so nerdy that I love it. Fun story, or maybe not. I was humming it because I haven't heard that song. I know the song.
Wait, which song?
Never-ending Story. Good point. Yes,
Yeah.
I should say what I'm talking about. I'm trying to like dance around it. Who the fuck cares?
That's what you do.
I hope that people listening to this by now have watched the whole season.
We've already
Yes.
said Hopper dies, quote unquote. But we don't want to
Steve's been
spoil
warned about spoilers.
the never-ending story scene.
It's
Yeah.
been a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But when
It
that
has.
happened, I
And
just
it'll
remember
change.
my wife and I were both like, "This is amazing." But my wife never got into the Never-Ending Story. She never really watched her. She doesn't even like doesn't remember the song really. It's just it's like, oh, Never-Ending Story. That's from the movie, right? Oh, okay, I get that, but I don't get it. I was just like, this is amazing, and then I couldn't get it out of my head, and so then I was pulling up clips on YouTube, just listening to that scene again, and then
I spent the summer of second grade addicted to that movie.
actually, the first one is actually very good in my opinion. But
Never-ending Story.
yeah, Never-Ending Story. So that one I was just like, oh man, and then it got to the point where I pulled up in the car. We haven't listened to it in a week, and I was like, what about this one? Pulled it up. And it was legitimately that. And she's like, I swear that you are making me hate this song. Will you please stop? And I was just like, well, you didn't have to be mean about it. and then I was like, I haven't played it in a week. She's like, oh, but you're humming it every day. And I was like, oh, I didn't know I was doing that
it's
anymore.
very catchy.
It is.
I bet a lot of people have a little bit of alone time in the car with that one.
Oh, totally. Well, so this is the other thing, too. If you know anything about some of the actors, the kid is a Broadway
Yeah.
star.
yeah.
And so he has the pipes.
Which I like. I
So-
appreciated that scene, but I also was like,
They're
I feel
trying
like
to shoehorn him singing.
I feel
into
like
this.
they just did this because they knew he could sing,
well,
which it was beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. And yes, I thought that too. And I was just like, but damn, if it's just not entertaining. So
Yeah.
It walked a line. I mean, it really...
it danced around it and then it stopped before it went too far.
well, what I mean
Everybody's
is...
faces while they were listening.
Oh, I feel like
It was like everybody's about to die. It was
Well,
like,
like,
I mean-
at one point, I could be wrong in thinking this, but I feel like at one point you could see Winona Ryder with her face up against the safe, almost banging her head against the wall.
Yes.
Or maybe I just envisioned
No,
that.
no, she
No.
was definitely doing that.
Yes, she was.
Yep.
I didn't see that, so I watched that episode 3 times.
Yeah.
Well, no, like I would just randomly rewatch it. I was like, I just feel like I want to watch that whole episode again, and that is like one of my favorite parts. Is just more of the reaction of everyone. Like I just remember Hopper's looking at
Yes.
the camera like, oh, what is going on?
Oh,
Now-
by the way, that
Yes.
song did not cause Hopper to die, by the way.
Oh,
that has been a thing.
I was about
can
ready to say
explain
a
why.
lot of people
because he's not dead.
Well, there's there's I mean that delay did not lead to his demise, and I can actually explain that if anyone wants to hear.
Yes.
Oh yes,
get
please
to that.
hear. No, just tease us and never
I've
mention
turned
it
toward
again.
you. You have
How are we
my
doing this? Are we
attention.
going to go timeline? Like, I know we can go episode by episode because that's not how we work. But
I'm sorry.
I,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that about this.
But I can wait my turn.
But like progression of the series, I also really loved the team aspect of it. Like, because you basically had 4 teams going throughout this entire series. Because you think about it, like Steve and Dustin were kind of isolated.
And Robin,
Troop.
right?
Scoop
Yeah.
Stroop, yeah, isolated from the core group.
Is that what they called themselves?
Yeah.
yeah,
Troop.
Oh,
And
sorry, you
then
didn't
the
hear the
Griswold
10,000
family.
You didn't
Yeah.
hear the 10,000 times he was in the
Bald eagle.
walkie, like going, Scoops Troop, do you copy? Scoops Troop, like 25 times. I'm like,
Yeah.
But
they aren't answering the call after time 5. Just give it a break.
No,
Give it a break, Justin.
I was just so happy that they were all on the team that I was just skipping over that.
But Griswold family was like 2 different teams come together at the end. So
Yeah.
because Nancy and Jonathan were on their own, which I felt like we could have gone without them.
I
They
did-
weren't necessary.
Yeah.
And Will was wasted. That's my complaint about characters this season.
I have an interesting thought about Will, actually, because
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people made fun of, everybody's concerned with girls and boys and what have you, and then you have Will, who kind of missed out on, a significant, portion of a year of his childhood during season 1, and I feel like he's almost kind of stunted
Technically
because of
season
that.
2.
Yeah.
Well, season 2 as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he missed
Yeah.
out on a year, but then he had to grow up really fast.
And I feel like because of that, that led to a lot of his arc this season of really trying to hold on.
Yeah.
To
But I think in a way they all kind of missed out on that time. I mean, they were all...
yeah.
And they all had to grow up kind of fast. I mean,
also could-
Mike's been through a lot.
Yeah. He also could just be a late bloomer. I was a
Right.
late bloomer and was into kid things longer than some of my friends were. And
And are they really kid things? That's gonna be.
I mean,
Sorry,
I didn't play
no.
D&D until I was
No.
25. No, but yeah, oh man. So, okay, most importantly, let's just talk about Steven, that fucking Scoops Ahoy hat. Because this entire series, I admittedly was a bit of a mall rat in the 90s. And even though it was a different decade that this
Yes.
season took place in, that hit hard a lot.
Yeah.
Just being at the mall.
The
and
mall.
It
was so familiar.
Sneaking into
Yeah.
the movie theater, at the very beginning when they sneak into,
Yeah. Back to the Future. No.
No,
Dawn
No,
of the
no,
Dead.
no, not it's
Or
Day of the Dead.
Day of the
sorry.
Dead, that's
Day
the
of
one.
the Dead.
So,
Back to the Future's later.
sneaking into that,
Yeah.
sneaking into an R-rated movie and just all this stuff, I was just, hit my nostalgia heartstrings so strongly.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing is that I think all of us, especially, we're in a time where malls were very plentiful. This is a Columbus, Ohio kind of talk here for a second, but Polaris is starting to look a little like the population is not as there as much. I remember, it was the shit, and now it's just, one side of the mall is still very busy, but the other half, it looks like it's slowly dying out.
I would say the same for Easton, even.
Oh, yes.
I feel like I remember when I was in college, Mo Rocca, oddly enough, calling that a utopia of the Midwest when he went to OSU, and I don't weird things that stick in
That
your
is
head.
random. Yeah.
Weird things that stick in your brain over time.
What, Mo Rocca, or the fact that
All
he
of
called
it.
it the Utopia?
All of
No,
it.
I'm
All of
kidding.
it.
I'm
All of
kidding.
it. But it's
Rocca used to be the shit back in the day.
This is when he was still on the Daily Show,
Show,
to be
right?
fair.
Yep.
Before he just did Good Morning America
And cooking shows.
and cooking shows.
and Sunday morning.
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, no, this entire season just made my heart very happy.
And also, so this is the other thing I now have a problem with too, is how can you beat the mall? I feel like the mall is such a great set piece, and there's so many things that it was able to accomplish. It's an enclosed space, but it's big enough that you have a big fucking mind flayer walking around. You can throw fireworks and shit. It's also honest, because I remember, I grew up on the west side of town, so Westland Mall here in Columbus, Ohio. It was initially, this was before me, a year or two, it used to be an open mall, kind of like at East End, and they closed it in. But still, there are little highlights and stuff or where, sun comes down, and sometimes they would open them so the birds could, I don't know, it was weird. But I'm always would remember looking up at those, I was like, what if something would come through those? And one fucking does in this movie, and I'm just like, oh god, my nightmares are coming true.
Yeah.
In a movie. But yeah, it was just such a weird, and I don't know how they're going to, I'm anxious to see how they're going to top it, but I'm really just feel like you guys have hit peak at this point in terms of just action-packed fun and the setting, because Hawkins is okay, but the mall was weirdly part of Hawkins, but it's not.
It was removed.
Yeah, it was removed.
It
That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
also, now we've involved the Russians, so sky's the limit.
Well, and everybody's kind of scattered because,
Yeah.
Joyce and Will and Jonathan and Eleven have, moved someplace else. And
Well, I just don't want to forget about it. What were you going to say about Hopper? Just just so I can.
Well, I'm
don't-
sure some of the things that people talked about is because of that giant, what was it, a 3-minute delay that song took up.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
gave
yeah.
Grigory or whatever, the Russian Terminator was, the time to find them. Not true. He didn't know where they were until they broke into that control room and Hop started firing off his gun. That alerted him to where he was, and that was after the song. So it wasn't until that point that Grigory knew where he was and went to go kill him.
I find it
Boom.
funny that someone is nitpicking that the girl who did look like Phoebe Cates a little bit.
She
was adorable.
She did.
Because somebody actually made a meme kind of to that effect of like, sings one song, entire internet hates her. But then you look at like Murray, for example, and he, left and got a corn dog and did like 2 or 3 other things that like inevitably led to like 1 or 2 characters
Got
deaths.
Alexi killed.
And got Alexi, our baby Alexi.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
our precious child. And yet,
Poor Smirnoff.
no one cares about him.
It hurt a little bit. I thought it hurt quite a bit when he died.
No, I'm not talking about Alexi. I'm
Nobody
talking
cares
about
about
how
Murray.
the internet doesn't hate Murray. Meanwhile,
Because he's a man. That's true.
That's
I don't
very
know.
true.
I'm just throwing that out there to
That's absolutely
tick people off.
we also talked about
I've spent no time thinking about
I
that.
did it earlier today. Somebody was like, "Why does this happen?" I'm like, "It's because they're boys."
Can we also talk about
Sorry,
Hopper's
Travis.
weird love of Magnum? It's not weird. It's just like, but you kind of forgot about it. Magnum PI, which is a very. But the dude was just like,
Anyone who can get me that shirt in my size will be forever in my head.
I've seen people wearing it. Like they are.
I feel like
making
Hot
it.
Topic did a line, but then I'd have
Maybe.
to go to a Hot Topic.
Yeah.
And I haven't done that since I was about 14 and still
Well,
a mall
it's
rat.
time then.
I guess.
it's time.
But I don't even know, like, where is a Hot Topic
Easton.
even nowadays?
Easton.
Easton
It's
of
somewhere
all-
else now because like it used to be inside the mall, and now
It's still inside the mall, but it's moved to the second floor on the other side.
Because
In a
now
different
it's a weird, creepy kind of like low budget lingerie store
Yes.
that looks like it would fall apart with one hand wash.
It feels so that's the weird thing also about malls is that they'll like move around in different stores and this and
Oh, yeah.
I never understood that. Like I still don't in my brain.
Moved
but
up to a bigger space. They've been promoted.
Rents.
Yeah, bigger space. Or if
Or
they
somebody
weren't
goes
doing
a
so
smaller
well,
space.
maybe they went to a smaller space with
Yeah.
the cheaper rent.
Yeah.
Less
I
frequented.
worked at a mall in high school.
Oh, did you?
Scottsdale Mall in South Bend, Indiana.
Did you wear like a nice little costume?
So I'm interested.
I did not.
Most importantly, can we talk about my new favorite character of Robin?
Yeah.
I adore her.
Robin was amazing.
She is awesome.
So this is the thing that I thought was really amazing was actually it's the first time I cried in the shows through the whole season. I don't remember crying in the season. Or no, I did cry when Bob died. That was that gutted me. And then actually I
Gutted him,
I
too.
could feel emotions.
Soon! Too soon!
Can't spoil that.
No, that's true. But, but the moment they brought him back for a second, I was just like,
crying, man.
"Oh God!"
I was so mad. I was like, "How dare
Don't make me
you?
relive this.
Don't
Like,
make me.
Sean Astin, they did you dirty."
That was it. Broke it. Yeah, it broke my heart.
This is something that I don't mean to interrupt, but
No,
I
you're
do
fine.
want to bring something up
yeah.
of a theme that I've never heard anyone else mention before: the curse of the bees.
Yeah.
Barb, Bob, Billy.
Oh.
What's his name? The guy Brenner from season 1.
Didn't think of him. Well, I was thinking of like the sacrificial lambs, basically.
Maybe.
No, but still, like that's I've never heard. Well, folks, we've heard it here first. I've never. No, I've heard a lot of fucked up theories about Stranger Things. Not fucked up, but yeah, just people winging shit out there. That's a valid one that could have merit because
3 is more than a coincidence.
3. Yeah, what
It's a
was
pattern.
Yeah, what was that joke from Major League where it's just like we won 1 game, that's just luck. We won 2 games. Well, shit, but we won 3. That's called a winning streak, and that's a problem for
It's a
us.
dying streak. Yeah.
Yeah,
There was an interview with Billy where somebody brought that up, and he said he doesn't know. That's really inconclusive information for me. But he said, yeah, now that you mention it, that's a coincidence, but I don't know anything about that being on purpose.
Yeah.
So
I just remember the whole Barb thing was like, because you did feel for Barb a little bit, and then everyone was just, but even I'm just like, guys, Barb is not coming back, because everyone's like, no, Barb could still be alive. I was like,
No,
Yeah.
you saw
They showed her
body.
rotting corpse.
Yeah,
But even-
with
even-
things coming out of it.
Even this summer at the
we saw Will's dead body, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So-
there's for anyone who doesn't live in Columbus, there's a 4th of July parade that happens every year called the Doodah Parade, which is like an alternate 4th of July parade. You can show up and march in it. And this year they had a Stranger Things quote unquote float, where the main like part where people carrying around like picket signs that just said "Justice for Barb."
Now here's my question: was anyone dressed up in like sweater vests or whatever that she kind of wore?
Oh yeah, I have pictures on my phone somewhere. We can look at them
nice.
after.
Was it super hot though?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's the other thing.
Can we? Okay, so mad props to them for doing that, because my first thought was like, awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
sweaters!
That's
I'd be
commitment.
sweating to death. Like I need like 3 t-shirts so it
Yeah.
doesn't show. No,
I'd rather wear Eleven's romper from the 3rd season.
I wanted that so hard.
I want that now.
Wait, okay.
Target was selling it.
They've
So-
got-
It's sold out in like a
So
hot
what's
roll.
the
make
romp?
that,
What's
yeah.
a romper? I'm
So
so
the
sorry.
romper is like, so it's imagine like
Is it the yellow thing?
like
she
a shirt
wore?
that you have, like a collared shirt that you have on now, but then instead of like the shirt ending, it then turns into pants.
I love that
shorts.
description. Instead of the shirt ending, it turns into pants. That's great. You should write for catalogs.
Hey, thanks.
No,
Is it just me, or does the name make it sound like it's meant for 4-year-olds?
It is meant for 4-year-olds.
I mean, it
but
is. Yeah, I used to wear
okay.
them.
the
Adults
80s.
want them too.
Yeah.
I have a couple. I enjoy them.
To go back though with Robin, I sorry.
I also
This
had
is how
no
I
idea
go-
till the end that she was Uma Thurman.
Oh,
Yeah.
No idea.
Oh, well,
Like I was like Maya Hawke, cool name, and then like after I was like,
Wait a minute.
how did I not?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you're fine. Being that I was super like excited and nerding out, everyone kept talking about her, and when I watched the trailers, like I would watch the stupid little trailer over and over again, where it's just like Steve and Robin
They're doing the commercial.
doing the commercial
Yeah.
for Scoops Ahoy, and I was like, I love Steve, and who the fuck is her? I don't give a shit.
I know,
about
I don't
her.
like new people, so I'm resistant to all new characters, and they have to grow
Yeah.
on me.
And
she did.
Okay, so this is how my brain worked watching it. I was like, you know what? They're going to get together by the end of this. This is how this is.
That's
and
what they wanted
keep
you to
working
think,
it.
yeah.
They keep working it, and then I realized, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm completely okay, because sometimes when this shit happens, you get really mad when that doesn't happen. And honestly, this is the part that made me cry. Was she's telling him everything about how he was a dick to everybody, and he also got the shit kicked out of him too. So he's like on the floor, and
Staying on theme with Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Steven gets the shit kicked out of
Steven
him.
gets the shit kicked out of him. The sad and strangest of the weird things they do.
That's why you didn't go to college. It's all the traumatic brain injuries.
Oh my god. I just remember like it was some very good acting from the actor who played Steve. Is he just is like he doesn't say anything. He's just like you can just see the pain getting. It's almost like he's getting hit again. I'm just like I was such an asshole. Mm-hmm. And then he tries to make it right. And then when she does reveal him, he's like, I wasn't talking about you, you idiot. I was talking about the girl who was staring at you.
They
And-
did a really good job, unlike another fantasy series that just wrapped up, at subverting expectations.
What?
Game of Thrones. But no,
Symbolism, melting the throne. Do you watch Game of
No.
Thrones? That's okay.
don't bother.
Did you need to ask that?
Wow.
I don't know.
We go from it being like the hottest show on TV to don't bother? Really? I'm
The last
genuinely
season
asking.
of that show completely ruined any rewatchability, in my opinion.
Oh wow.
yeah.
That's for another topic.
for another
we could really get into that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Russia.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
Man.
derail things.
I
no,
feel
you're
awkward.
fine. I derail everything, so you're fine.
But no, that reveal I thought was beautiful.
It was,
Yeah.
and how he handled it, which
Yes.
was very nice too. Especially since they're in the 80s,
Right, that's what you have to remember. It would be
In the
totally
80s,
normal for him
in
to
Indiana,
Southern Indiana.
them
which
just
is
shut it
Yeah.
down.
not
Be like, you
known
freak.
for its open view.
especially
Right.
not now.
Yeah, so that was, and then I just was like, I love him even more, and now I love her even more too. I just want to see him and Dustin now all together.
I mean,
They should just be a family.
Steve is the best single mom in Indiana. Let's just.
Oh, can we talk about Stephen King's favorite quote of the entire show, which is from Lucas's little sister, which is "child endangerment," which is. Because you're watching it, I just remember we had to pause. We were laughing so hard because
Yeah.
it was like, this is fucking child endangerment. The whole series is child endangerment.
Yeah.
All of
haven't been
it
here
is
until
child
now.
endangerment.
Yeah.
Cujo. Yeah, you're just like,
Yeah.
this is a running theme in a lot of horror stuff, is child endangerment.
Oh, I do need to note, Lynn, who's someone I'm dating right now, actually wanted me to bring up specifically the thirsty pool scene, where it's a bunch of moms
Oh, yeah.
thirsting after Billy, which, no offense to the actor, the fact that I hate you this much still
means he's such a
means
good
you're
actor.
such a
Yeah.
good
I
actor.
know,
Yeah.
I hate him.
But I hated him so
I don't
much.
just hate him, I'm like afraid and uncomfortable when he's on screen.
Yes.
Because it reminds you of your middle school or high school bully.
crawling, just
Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm so uncomfortable.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
let's just see, like, some of the notes I
looking at
made
his
while
face.
watching it,
Ugh.
like, God, I fucking hate Billy. Douche canoe so goddamn much. He's not even that hot. Let's see, what else?
He's 80s hot.
From
It's
episode
80s hot, yeah.
1, get in a car crash, get in a car crash, get in a car crash. Yes! Die, Billy. Episode 2, damn it, no!
I do think they learned a lesson with Barb, which is they showed, I think, a little bit too much of Barb in the first season, and so people got attached to her. So then when she died, which I know that this is also what they're trying to do, but with the other,
we were sure attached to Bob.
Well, but I think that
Heather, we didn't know at all.
That was
so.
the whole arc, I think, of that one of the first seasons. Like Barb is gone pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I felt like 2 episodes in, and
I feel like the Duffer Brothers didn't realize how much people would resonate with Barb.
I'm sure
right. Well, which is why
they didn't.
when Bob dies, they just kind of linger and they do that. That's why they did that one shot, because it's like, we don't want to fool people. Like, people feel like they got fooled. We don't want to do that. We're going to show that Bob's fucking dead.
No,
so that's where that one shot of
so
him like
rude.
getting eaten apart. You're just like, oh, his body.
Oh yeah, that's what made me feel much better.
When that flashback happened with like them looking
Cheers,
happy,
watching Cheers. Fuck you, watching Cheers.
I was so mad. I was like, how dare you remind me of Happy or Die?
And then she was all watching it by herself because it's what they did, and it's like, oh god,
and
then
the first instance of like, what's wrong with my magnets is like, the picture of like
Bob
Bob's
Newby,
superhero. And I was just like, it was oh god.
so many feels.
Also, newsflash: Jake Busey in a role I hate him in. What a shock!
So that's the other thing. So that's a gripe. I was kind of excited because like Jake Busey is known for doing roles like that. So I was like, well, obviously he's going to be a bad guy. I'm excited to see what he will do. And if you watch The Walking Dead, it took me a long time to figure out who it was. The guy who played the manager, the editor of the paper, he was one of the guys from The Walking Dead, like Negan's number one with the mustache. He just had no mustache, so he just looked very weird and bizarre to me. I was like, who the fuck is that guy? And it's the same actor. It threw me off for a bit. And I was like, so when I realized that halfway through, I was like, oh, he's going to be a heavy too. This is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. And then it's like their whole...
They melt.
They melt, and it doesn't feel like it goes anywhere like... Usually I feel like they would try to make him a little sympathetic or something, and then...
I did kind of respect that choice of, like, just melting all the Mind Flayer... What do we want to call them?
Oh, the people?
Like, Heather... Was it Heather? Was that her name? The lifeguard's name? And
oh, yeah.
And Driscoll and Heather's
Busey
parents.
and... Yeah. Like, that I was like, oh, bold choice, okay.
Well, I was ultimately
actually
fine
shows
that
that, like,
they
human
did that.
life isn't... Oh, me too. But I'm like, okay, actually shows that, like, human life is at stake and not just, like, one or two choice characters that we all love.
Yeah, and I'm also glad, too, that it wasn't anybody else that we knew when they were showing all the humans lined up there. Because I think that was the end of one episode, right? And then the next episode, it shows them slowly walking down the basement to turn into sludge.
Oh, although prior to that there was that ending of that where they're singing "We'll Be Together Again," like "We'll
Meet again.
Oh yeah, from Doctor Strangelove.
That was so creepy,
Yeah.
in the best way.
The thing with Billy, too, that it made me jump, because I was expecting it. See, this is the thing. I watched The Meg, and I was like, there's going to be a jump here, and then the shark comes out. I was like, ah! I don't know why. I do that. I totally do that.
Because they're good at their job.
They
That's
are.
why that happens.
But when Billy's talking to Mike's mom,
oh,
and he just slams her head into the wall,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
me too.
Like, everyone, like, we were just like, oh, God, no.
Yeah.
And then you just cut back. It's like it's in his head. I'm like, thank God.
I definitely had that moment too. I was like, oh damn, okay, we're going. Oh, never mind. Okay,
Yeah.
it's fine. I like her still, but
Yeah.
Oh man. So can we also talk about the fact that Mike's dad basically was paid to fall asleep in a easy chair
The
this
best.
season?
Oh, every season.
Every
I
season.
love Ted Wheeler. He's my favorite character.
I also love like just the little review, not reviews, the little reveals of him. How he's like, I don't want to be in the Ferris wheel. I hate heights. Like it's
his
kind of,
pants, everything is glorious. I love Ted Wheeler.
it was great.
Those pants, I have, my dad used to wear pants like that, and he's a big guy, so it makes it even look even more inspiring than it is on Ted Wheeler. And then I would be forced to wear pants. Like, I had to wear pants that Mike and the other boys wear, where it was like the really short shorts
That's it.
with the little like white lines on the
stripe.
side,
Or it's
the
like,
stripe on the side.
Is my junk gonna fall out? Is it not?
Yeah, horrible. And that's
I remember the first time I saw Valley Girl with Nick Cage, and he's like, there's like a scene where he's wearing shorts like that, and I was just like, the entire time I was very nervous, like, what's gonna happen?
I think they would have caught that in
beauty
post
of the
somehow.
movie.
I mean, yeah. But at the time, I didn't really realize that.
You have to wear the briefs or the very tight, whatever they're called.
So
Tidy whities.
So I also felt Billy was kind of a problem because they wanted you to sympathize with him a little bit at the end.
There is no way that Billy As evil and horrible as he is, even without being under the Mind Flayer's control, even normal Billy would not give a crap if somebody reminded him of his mom and his childhood trauma. Like, he'd be like, screw you, I'm going to kill you. So especially under the influence of the Mind Flayer, there's no way the 11 would have got through to him. He would not save them.
I agree.
No way.
I don't.
Okay.
And I feel like they...
Fine. Let me just not...
You want to fight about it?
You're wrong! You're wrong! Anyway. Well, I mean, he's a flawed character, no doubt. I mean, his contribution to season 2 was meh. But I feel like they did actually lay the groundwork for that, for how he is from the few times we actually see it, the one time he interacts with his dad in season 2. He's terrified of him. Mm-hmm. You know?
I think, I guess it would have been more to me if it came, or if they... And those episodes are packed. I mean, some of them went over the 52 minutes that they normally are. So, and they do try to keep, like, that amount of time per episode. But I just would have been one extra scene where, like, Billy and Max or something where it's just, like, there's... Because I felt like
something more. It was so quick.
More, that by the time he does the pool scene with the hot guy at the pool with the older moms, and then they... cut to him and he's still doing whatever, and then he gets taken over. It's just like, well, I don't really...
So maybe like when he would be like nice to Max as opposed to like smashing her head into a
something that shows that he's not a complete tool bag, or that he's grown a little bit or something.
Yeah,
something.
no, there was
But
nothing.
he like maybe seeing Max and Lucas and like being nice to them as opposed to season 2 where he was a racist,
which would then make
a-hole
Max's role of
caring.
her
Yeah, why
brother.
does she even care about him?
Yeah,
Right.
There was no like buffer to kind of.
So that's an
help
interesting
that
thing to get
transition,
into in terms of if you want to go down that role, which I don't feel if I'm super adept to say this, but like people in relationships that are abusive, they still, especially if they're family, brothers and sisters, or mom and dad, they can
If they were, I don't want to say real, but if they were biological brother and sister that had grown up together, but just being thrown together as stepbrother and sister, I don't think that bond's going to be there if he's a raging dick.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like they were, but she has grown up with him. I feel right, because I feel like in the
They were
flashback,
fairly young
because I feel
when
like in
their
season
parents
2,
got together.
it made it very clear that it felt more like they were both at a certain age and then they got thrown together. But the flashback shows like he was like, what, 6 or something when Max was like 3 or something? Or something like that?
I think it was a little
Maybe.
older. My whole thing at the end of it, like, when he, like, spoiler alert, dies.
Yeah.
That's what this all is.
Yeah. I essentially, I felt bad for Max. Because it obviously affected her in a way.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it was because she was
that.
exposed to him at a younger age, and even though, despite his flaws, she still...
So, yeah, it
looked
felt
up
very
to him.
one-sided. So, like, I felt like Max felt bad, but at the same time, I'm just like, I know they want this to mean more. It means shit to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm just glad that that 11 feels moved by it too, and so I care that way. I care that Max is for some reason impacted, but that's what I'm saying. Like, she's impacted, but like, I get it. He's your brother. You may hate him. He's a fucking dick. But as an audience member, I see no reason to give a shit that he's doing it. So it almost feels like a wasted death. Like, and sometimes I feel like they could fix it with like 1 or 2 scenes, but that really bothered me.
It did feel hollow.
And even she talks, nothing but crap about him to her friends. Like, there's never a moment where she says, like, he's not so bad or something to
Like,
indicate that there's
he's my
something
brother
deeper.
or something
Right,
like
nothing.
that.
She's just like, he's awful, he's horrible, he's disgusting.
But then all of a sudden at the very end, she's like, you're going to kill him, aren't you? And it kind of comes out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. So now, does anyone have a problem with how Hopper was kind of a dick to Joyce? And
I'm sorry, do you just mean a dick the whole season?
yeah,
he was a
let's
dick
go
the
with
whole
that.
season.
Yes
It's his
and
go-to
no.
move.
Well,
You're not wrong there.
I mean, he's not a
granted-
hero for it, but it's realistic, especially in the
yeah.
80s.
Yeah.
It was
you know?
definitely, it was more amped up this season. And like, while I appreciated it with the door needs to be open 3 inches, like that,
Oh,
I was like, this is
that was-
adorable. But then, we'll say like post stand-up, so after he gets stood up at dinner,
By Joyce. Yeah.
it just seemed hostile to the point of why.
Well, like, so I know they're trying to do cutie banter between the two of them, but it almost feels very not charming like they want it to
But
be.
let me ask you this.
Sure.
Is it a purposeful move? We saw Joyce watching Cheers. Think of Sam and Diane's dynamic. Is it purposefully
See,
echoing
that's
that
true,
from
yeah.
that era?
That's a good point. Because
Potentially.
Not
Sam
that
and
that's
Diane
the
are very
relationship
antagonistic
you
to each
should
other.
aspire to,
Yeah.
but maybe we should know that. Like, this is just
Actually, it's anyone
a
who dated
callback
Diane.
to...
Frasier and Diane did that too.
I do.
But no, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
no, that's absolutely true. And God, I do also just kind of love the role of Murray sort of being the call out
Yeah.
for like, you guys obviously have sexual tension. You should fix that.
Can we also say Murray is the love god, the love pimp? Like he got to
I was
us.
Jonathan
waiting.
and Nancy together.
I was waiting for Hopper and Joyce to hook up in Murray's compound.
Should be like a shot-for-shot remake.
Exactly.
Hashtag how was the pullout?
So
What? The sofa.
So can we also throw out there just real quick, who thought that Alexei would actually leave when Hopper was just full of himself and like, he ain't.
I did.
You did.
I did.
Well, because at first I was like, no, they're dragging this out. I think that fucker's gonna leave. And then I was just like, oh, where's he gonna go?
My own.
Yeah.
If he did leave, I thought it would have just been to go get a cherry slushy
Yeah.
and come back.
So see, I thought that too, and I was just like, I don't know. And then when he's like, he came back, I was like, the hell? And then I was like, no, it makes sense. You did think that for a half second, but sometimes people in real life or even in TV shows, they don't do things that make sense. You know,
It would have been a
there's a
it would
sound
have
over
been
there. I'm going to investigate.
it would have been a great laugh line, but I feel like ultimately it served the story better for him to stay.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
totally.
I also love that weird little move that Hopper did where like he threw the keys at Alexei, but he stopped his arm with his other hand. Like he had the keys and he kind of went and then like threw the keys. I don't know why, but that like slayed me for a good minute.
people.
It was such a dad thing.
Yes. I haven't seen someone do that in a while, and I was just like,
Like, what's the point of
well,
it?
it's almost like they're trying to do like an underhand, but then their hands up. But then he just actually caught it instead. And
Yeah.
just was
Well, and it's like it's
okay.
almost like to create more. I don't know.
more sound.
Science terms.
Filmmaking,
like
everybody. Gotta-
Underhand catapult.
Since you have notes, what other stuff do you got
What
in
else,
there?
Kyle?
Oh God, leave Will Byers alone. Will just wants to play D&D. Play D&D with Will.
Yeah,
Right?
man.
Poor guy.
I mean, I understand that you're, in middle school, we'll say, and hormones, but
REO Speedwagon, ladies and
I just-
gentlemen. Oh yeah.
I just
Those
wanted.
smooth jams.
I feel like I felt bad that like aside from the destruction of Castle Byers,
Yeah.
like that was a great moment for him.
Yeah.
But I feel like his entire arc was like, let's play D&D or my spidey sense is tingling. Like
Yes.
that was essentially
Yeah.
his entire.
Yeah.
He was an alarm clock for the mind flayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
And I really do want. I want a season like where Will like takes agency and like not that he doesn't at certain points,
Yeah.
but
Well, maybe he will next season because he has moved away. He's away from the group.
could be.
He did have a great season 2, though. He got a lot of, just as an actor, he had a fantastic season.
oh, for sure.
But I also kind of feel like it was almost like The Exorcist. He's possessed for some of it,
Yeah.
which is good
But
for
as an
acting,
actor,
but
I
yeah,
think he did
As an actor, it's
fantastic. He
fantastic,
went through
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
That is true.
I mean, can the ladies in the room talk about the montage at the mall, the like dressing up
Please.
Oh,
material
the
girl
Max
scene? 'Cause
and-
I think that was my personal favorite from the whole season.
Well, did you? So, because it's in the mall and it's in a store. The Jurassic Park reference when the mind flayer is where they're hiding in the clothes section they were shopping at before. That's why I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, because one of the dummies is wearing the same outfit the 11's
Yeah.
wearing.
Yeah.
And it
But they're-
grabs it.
But they're
And you
technically
think-
doing the raptor scene in the kitchen and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is fucking intense. Because then when they grabbed and you saw the yellow, they're like, oh, it's a dummy. Oh, thank
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No, but that entire like dress up montage,
It's
let's go
fun.
shopping scene. Also, I'm really happy that Elle got a girlfriend.
Yes.
Like,
oh my god.
Just like
yes.
a positive female friendship.
And it's awesome that it's even with Max because her and Max, not from Max's side.
Yeah.
Right. 11 was jealous.
was very
Yeah.
jealous, and being that she didn't have a lot of human interaction, she didn't know how to process that, so she just fucking
Right.
psychically knocked her on her ass.
But
and,
yeah, like Max immediately like taking her in, and she was like,
Yeah.
like, no, you should dump his ass. Like, let's go do stuff. And they like went shopping and got glamour shots. Do y'all remember glamour
yes.
shots? Because I
yeah.
got my best friend from high school actually recently texted me because she had a baby, and every time she posts a picture, I'm like, ah, So we talk, and she told me she just found all of our glamour shots more recently.
Oh
She's
my
gonna,
gosh, post those.
Send me pictures of it. It's really bad.
Nice.
I had Cleopatra hair, like how I call it, where it was like bangs,
Oh, yeah.
triangle,
Nice.
like a really bad version of like Liz Lemon hair. But yeah,
Things are looking up for Liz
old
Lemon.
Liz Lemon. But I really appreciated that, and them having like a sleepover and reading
And so
comics
even
together.
though they were talking about boys too, I also like the fact that I found this very telling. Lucas was the one dropping in. It's like, yeah, we broke up like 5 times. Max doesn't ever tell Eleven that. It's just more like he's being a douche or whatever. This is what you do to fix it, or you don't need him to begin with, which is just so great. Like I just feel like it's because I feel like, and this is weird, but I feel like in the 80s, I feel like what it's been portrayed to me is that the girls would be the one talking that. It's like I've dumped him like so many times or whatever, and the boys are like, I don't know what to do. Instead, it's both of that on the boys' side, and the girls. It was nice.
Life
It's like,
goes
I
on.
wanted to buy you something nice, but I only have like $3.50 and it's hard.
Well, I also was like, the fuck, Lucas? Where have you bought shit in the mall where you had money? That was the other thing. Like, did his mom like buy something for him to give to Max? And he just has no concept of money. Like,
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I think in the 80s you could buy a nice plastic necklace or pair of jelly shoes at Claire's or whatever they had back then.
Yeah.
For $3.
Claire's was definitely a thing.
Maybe a cassette tape. I don't know.
Well, and Mike is a go big or go home kind of guy, so he would be looking at
not
the
bad.
actual
Yeah.
expensive
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But Lucas should be just like, you can't afford that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but does anyone? I didn't have a problem with this, but I know some people on the Reddits have said like they hated that they split Dustin away from the group, like from the
No,
main.
because he was with Steve.
See,
It
I
works.
was fine with that too.
But also,
It would be
was-
more upsetting if he was away from Steve.
But it was also well established in the first episode when he was trying to contact his girl Susie, and then like the other 3 are like, peace. We got other stuff to do, aka girlfriends.
I mean, it's just
I got D&D, but
You don't
That
split
was-
up a classic comic duo. You just don't do it.
oh yeah, and those two just shined.
My favorite
So bright in season
relationship
2.
Yeah.
on that show.
Oh, like their little
is Steve and
handshake.
Dustin. Oh my god,
And
they're
the scoops of
adorable.
boy, like
Their
oh.
Farrah Fawcett hairspray.
But then
Maybe
also-
that's why Steve doesn't have TBI, because he's got the helmet head from all the Farrah Fawcett spray.
TBI.
Traumatic brain injury.
Oh.
The head stuff. Maybe
From
he's
all the
got
hits to the melon.
helmet head
You're
from
right.
all that Farrah
Well, that's
Fawcett
before the
spray.
hits to the melon.
It provides
Yeah.
That
cushion.
was the hit to the melon. the ozone in around his hair just pummeling his brain, and then he gets punched a few times by Billy,
The
Jonathan, the Russians,
Collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, oh god, what was it though? Like Robin's line of like, "How many small children are you friends with?" That kind of outside
Yeah.
perspective was so warranted and wonderful.
I really love it. Now the Russians. Let's talk about them a little bit. The Russians to me is a nod to Rocky IV because that was, and also the Cold War was very big in the 80s, and I felt like that to me is encapsulated in 2 movies in the 80s, which was. Oh, and now my brain's dying. One of them is
Red
Rocky
Dawn.
IV and Red Dawn. Yes,
Red
with
Dawn,
the
yeah,
submarine
that's what I
in
was
is it
thinking.
Michigan, right, or something. The Russians invade Michigan or something through the lake, or I don't
Is that
know.
the first time that Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze were paired up together?
Yes, and they didn't hate each other then.
They didn't.
But it was after that movie that they had a contentious relationship
Yeah.
with Dirty Dancing.
Weird.
But there's a new movie or show coming out. It came up on my YouTube thing. I was watching clips for Stranger Things and stuff to prep, and they had a thing for something called I Am Patrick Swayze, and it's like, and they talked to her, and she's like, "But man, he could dance," and I was just like, "Is that the one nice thing you say about him in this whole thing?" But yeah. Anyway, the Russians though, I felt like they really were hitting home with this. Now, this is where I think earlier Kyle or Travis said that about the American. I think it is Hopper that's the American, only because they made a point that Grigori kept calling Hopper the American. Nobody else was called the American. They were referencing Hopper.
There
But-
can't be 2.
There can, but I
there
feel
wasn't.
like writing wise, it's a hint to the audience.
Yeah.
Like this is don't give up hope yet.
My only argument against that would be
I don't love that, by the way. I want to be clear.
like, yeah, I do like the upside down theory.
I like the upside down.
and I
theory.
do kind of like the trapdoor secret Russian agency theory, and that's only to prove my Winter Hopper theory. But at the death scene, we'll call it, like they show the other people in the room and how they get liquefied by that surge.
Yeah.
There's no pile of liquid Hopper goo.
Maybe he quantum leaped.
Ooh.
to put right
what once went wrong.
Scott Bakula now.
Who was the guy that was with Ziggy? With Scott Bakula.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
Dean Stockwell.
Dean Stockwell. You have Dean Stockwell just show up behind him. It's like, well, Hopper, Jim, I don't know where you're at, buddy. I think Ziggy's not working.
I do hope in season 4, if Hopper shows up, his first line is, "Oh boy."
So here's my question about the American. 2 questions. Why would it be less likely to be Hopper than Brenner? And why, if they did have Hopper, would they not have fed him to the Demogorgon by now? What importance does he have to them?
So have you seen or called into that Easter egg that appeared?
Yes.
Okay. Could it be Murray? Because they haven't really established that any time that has passed, or it could be a couple months, it could be like a week.
Could the American be Murray, are you saying?
Yeah, that's what because for anyone that doesn't know, if you call Murray's phone number that is like shown in the episode where Hopper calls the
and then Hopper repeats it back out
yeah.
loud.
So if you call that number, it actually goes to a pre-recorded voicemail from Murray where like he says to Joyce, like, Joyce, I've been trying to call you. I have some very important information. Please get in touch with me.
Yeah. Which, and of course, it's said in a very Murray way, which means it's kind of sassy, kind of.
Yes.
But it is really cool. It's a nice little fun Easter egg that they threw in there.
Yeah.
But it furthers that a little bit deeper. That you know that it could be him, or there's something else that he knows, which is
and like he is an American that speaks Russian, so like
that is so that is true.
idea.
See, I'm more of the. It makes more sense logically to me that he's in the Upside Down. I'm with you guys. I don't necessarily love that theory, but like I'm also just happy Hopper's alive. They can bullshit the rest a little bit later, and I can then complain about it then. But,
well, I mean, as my very good friend Laura Spire said, she was like, I don't care if this series would get canceled, and even if the creators would confirm it, Hopper is alive, and I don't care who says it.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of goes into that realm of like the Barb still being alive.
But my other thing though is, which is I think it will probably go down that path, is how do they have the Demogorgon? Now, granted, they did show signs that I took it as they were trying to get the Demogorgon. But then when you cut to Russia during the end credits, it's like they have him, which means that if Hopper did go in the Upside Down, he was there. They found him that way when they found the Demogorgon. I don't love that theory, but also my other fear is that if Hopper's in there too long, that would be bad for him, because remember, they have to cover up because some of those particles can they think go in and fuck shit up. So then that would be, yes, we would still lose Jim Hopper possibly. So I don't know. I believe he's in the Upside Down because it makes more sense, and it would be cooler if it was just someone randomly else.
I don't think it's anyone random. I think it is an intentional person.
Yeah.
I just don't
But I
necessarily
think they want us to think it's Hopper.
Yeah.
Did anyone? I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I was like, oh, that's awesome. They brought him back. Did anyone like that they brought Paul Reiser back for like that one little
second
cameo where he just looked around ominously? This is like, this is not good.
Oh yeah, but can we also talk about my favorite cameo in this season, which was Carrie? I never know how to say his last name.
Mayor.
Oh, Carrie Ellis.
Elwes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Mayor
sleazy.
Klein.
Yeah.
So sleazy.
So good.
So sleazy.
Weasel. Again, which further goes into, they were totally, to me, channeling the mayor from Jaws.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, and also
There were a lot of Spielbergian elements, as you say.
Well, and so Spielberg, likes, especially in the movie Jaws, he focuses on hands or things that people are doing, and he focuses on other shit too. But like when he's like Quint, there's a moment where he's focusing. The focus of the shot is Quint watching the fish reel.
The fishing reel.
Fishing rod. Thank you, everybody. That was terrifying. But they focus on that, and then they just do another shot where you see above that, where he's like, you can't really see his face. He's watching it, and it's starting to move. Like they do a lot. He does a lot of that. They did this weird thing where they kind of focus on the cigar thing. I was like, that shit's going to come in handy at some point.
Right.
And then he almost puts his finger through it. I was like, please don't do this.
But
I don't handle this stuff well. Sometimes.
I also did love how they kind of almost did, not a callback, but talking about like Hopper's past, like drinking and
indiscretions.
boozing and sleeping around and
Yeah. I kind of, there's the only part with me, and this is for any TV show that does stuff like this, there's always a part of me that just wishes Mayor Klein would have been around, or they at least talked about him a bit more. I don't feel like they mentioned him at all. They do that in every TV show, though, so that's how things are.
I mean, I don't know. They may mention the mayor in the first 2 seasons.
I need to know.
It wouldn't stick out.
It wouldn't. But you also think about, how like Parks and Rec did that brilliant thing where Bill Murray was the mayor at the very end, but you only see him in like his death video. Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was.
So, I don't know. Oh,
yeah, but no, he was awesome too, and it was good to know that, because that was the thing too, is when the trailer would come up and you see him, it's like, well, he's obviously the bad guy, but he wasn't the bad guy. He was kind of a lackey.
He was an accessory to the bad guy.
Yeah. Which was nice, because I felt like that's a trope that kind of it was nice, because your expectation going in is that, well, and also if anyone has seen him in the show Psych, dude did not look good.
He's lost weight since then.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Like
since
he looks like Alec Baldwin and Val Kilmer, but as Carrie Elways.
But they had a Benjamin Button baby.
And then they had a Benjamin Button baby, and this one, like, he looks like well in shape and taut, and you're just like, good for you.
My least favorite part was at the very beginning, kind of the Nancy Jonathan working at the paper thing, which I understand for the story why it was necessary. And this is partially probably my own fault, because I, in my mind, suddenly was like, oh, Nancy and Jonathan graduated and now have a job at the paper. And then it's revealed like halfway through the season that it's an internship. But they make it feel like a job, like an actual job that they got up until that point.
And so
then like Jonathan drops that line of, we were just interns. And I was like, I'm sorry. And you really thought that they were going to hire you as a reporter and like not just have you get lunches and coffee up until then? Like,
And you did post something that was really funny, which is I felt like Nancy was constantly busting the door down in the dark room.
Yeah.
Like,
that made me
like
so
karate
mad.
chop. No, yes.
As somebody who like used to work in a dark room, like every time she would open the door, I was like,
Nancy,
the love of your life, like, is a photographer. You should know better.
Yeah.
And my note to Jonathan is get a fucking lock.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they did give Jonathan it was an internship, but they gave him real work to do. And they didn't give her because she was a female, and they undermined her. I mean,
and it was the 80s. And
her complaints were valid.
Oh, no,
They
100%. 100%. I'm not discounting that.
Unless they were both just coffee people,
Well, I guess I kind of more wonder, like, what the process of that was, like, because up until that point I was like, oh, well, they said they were going to give her a staff job on this paper. Like, yeah, it makes sense that she would want something a little bit more, but
salary or something.
But like for a summer internship, I almost wonder like if they were like, so Nancy, like this internship, you're just going to learn how the paper works. You're going to be doing a lot of grunt work, getting coffee, and she was like, I'm going to be a star reporter. Like, and I mean,
maybe if they showed them saying that to her and not having her. Well, no, but then they would make her more unlikable. So I don't know. That would not.
Yeah,
work.
and again, it's like it's a very minor complaint, but it was just one of those things where when they did and again, this is me probably not paying attention very well, but the whole reveal that they were just interns, I was like, what the?
Yeah, it kind of lessened it, and that was a weak spot in the show. So that's the weird thing about their storyline. I feel like it, especially in the last season 2, it was kind of the last half of season 2. It kind of felt like, okay, where's this? Oh, neat, cool. This is where it went. It's not bad. It's just
I just found them you could take them or leave them this season. I don't think they helped the storyline along. It just. Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, I mean,
unless it was in the mall. The mall, I feel like
I think
until they met up with the rest
right.
of the group.
Them on their own was just kind of filler.
Yeah.
Well,
although I did love
them breaking up and getting back together, and whatever.
I did love the Mrs. Driscoll stuff. Like I love that actress who played the little old lady with the fertilizer.
Yeah,
I adored her.
So that to me, that was really the only purpose they served. But like that was only like one. That was like what episode 3, and then they talk about in episode 4. A little bit where they're just setting up the rat and what's going on with the rats, but it's just like.
But then everything else is like, let's go to the hospital and
exactly.
get chased around by the mind flayer for 20 minutes,
Oh
and
my
like
God.
that
And
whole
then
thing.
the Deus Ex Machina of 11 entering the room
Yes.
to save Nancy just
That-
in time. There
that-
were a lot of Deus Ex Machinas this season, which drove me nuts.
There were,
Just, magically at the right moment.
Yeah,
this person arrived.
Yeah.
The 11 showing up for Nancy thing irked me.
Especially since the Mind Flayer thing was like could have had like 5 minutes to kill her. It was like in her face with her pinned down, and it was like, let me wait till 11 comes in and gets me. You know, it was so contrived.
No, it was that. So now, see, one of the other ones is where Steve shows up with the car and rams Billy, and I was fine with that because they did show that Steve was running back to the mall with Robin, so that didn't bother me. The other one though is just
There's
like,
so many.
I know Levin's going in there, but she don't. Well, I guess she could use her powers, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like at this point.
There's no real drama. You know they're going to be magically saved. And,
or like that moment where like Nancy's just like standing in front of the car with a gun, and Billy is coming
and
toward
doesn't
her
move
in a Charger.
Yeah,
like
everyone else get out of the car. You move.
Yeah, and I mean, like, good for you for like having your John Wick moment, Nancy. But
but if he hits you, he's going to hit it. Like you're not saving anyone.
Yeah,
by standing there. So
I did want. I don't know. This is a very weirdly specific thing. Bit of an anachronism. Does Dustin invent the brony in this season?
By talking about My Little Pony?
Yes. Because I want to talk about that just
these
for
are
a
the
minute.
important questions.
I mean, I would say maybe, but I would also argue that like the brony didn't become a possibility until the reboot of My Little Pony.
Well, that's the thing, is that in that conversation that he has with Erica about My Little Pony, the 80s were a very gender-segregated era with toys.
Yeah.
That and I can speak to this because that special that he watched, I saw that when I was a child with my sister, and I dared breathe a word of it to no one. What I'm saying about that particular moment is it's clear that Dustin has an unshakable self-esteem. There's no question.
It's admirable, that kid's self-confidence.
But that seems
is also a problem for him sometimes.
Just a touch anachronistic, just because, but
he was talking to Erica about it, wasn't he?
He was.
But she's also not a nerd. I wish I liked Erica more.
I wouldn't trust Erica with any information. Like she'll call that out to embarrass you.
Yeah.
Well, maybe though that she got cred for doing what she. I don't know, and then he got cred for actually having the girlfriend, and then B getting the number to help. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Do you think that was intentional that they put that in there?
Well,
that's really the question.
I mean, it's. I think that they break away from. There are moments where they go a little anachronistic with some of the attitudes and things with things. But I just remember that to have espoused enjoyment of that as a XY chromosome in the 80s would have basically brought a beat down for your entire elementary, middle school, and maybe even high school career.
Well, because things were very gender segregated. Like girls could like boy things. Like everybody
boys could not watch girls. Could not.
Right.
No.
Everybody watched He-Man.
Well, you look at it.
Only the girls watched She-Ra.
Boys didn't watch She-Ra.
You think of it as like the Easy Bake Oven, but the boys had creepy crawlers, which was the boy version of it.
But see, I wanted the oven. Yeah. I wanted the oven. Because I wanted to make little cookies.
You wanted light bulbs to make brownies for you.
And also, you could also use them to make, Shrinky Dinks.
I will go back to say I am happy that when Jonathan and Nancy fought, like, my initial reaction was, all right, go back to Steve. Just become a freaking throuple already. My God. Like, just embrace
that took a turn.
Embrace your polyamory. Good Lord. Because, like, it's like the three of them have, like, the last 2 seasons, it's been, like, back, forth. And I was happy they didn't,
I'm glad they didn't go back on that. But again, though, that would have messed up, again, before it happened, the Robin and Steve relationship, before we realized, nope, the relationship is just a very, very good friendship, which I'm 100% okay for.
I love that.
Yeah.
Also, the one kid they brought back from the last one who ran the arcade, he's now running the videos.
Keith, I think?
Keith, he's running the video store.
Yeah.
That was such a weird...
He's also that awkward kid who's in that, like, Verizon Fair commercial where it's like, is this safe?
Yeah, he's also...
They probably should not have played in Ohio prior to the Ohio State Fair. Given last year's...
What's the book series that Jim Carrey was in, but it's Neil Patrick Harris? A series of unfortunate events. Yeah. He's also... I think he's the non-gendered binary person in Olaf's group.
He's also in Jurassic World as one of the ride operators.
That's right.
Yeah.
Idina Menzel, that dinosaur. I did love the like truth serum scene where they
Yes.
Oh yeah.
like
where they were like drunkish.
yeah.
well, and then also where they go in to watch Back to the Future, which we kind of
Oh my
wasn't
God,
this.
yes.
But on my rewatch, I realized as like they're trying to pull them into the theater, Steve reaches both of his hands into the trash can and pulls out a half-eaten bag of popcorn,
Yeah.
and then starts eating it immediately.
Well, so I haven't noticed them do this before, and to me, but also in that scene where later through them watching the movie, the music of Back to the Future by Alan Silvestri starts kicking in, and then it starts tying into them the actual scene, and I was just like, fucking A, good job, you guys, because this is what I've always kind of wanted from the show. I felt like previously they haven't done, especially when they reference like Ghost. Well, granted, it might be harder, but like Ghostbusters. I mean, they did a nod to Gremlins in the second season when Dart was running out of the room. They had like a little like dun 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 dun. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's cool, but like beyond that, I haven't really heard anything else. And even then, like you have to really like turn it up to hear it. I feel like, or if you missed, because I heard, I was like, I think I just heard the Gremlins theme, so we had to pause it, go back, and I was like kind of obsessed with it for a second, and then but this one, it's like it's very clear. It's like, yes, good job. You're doing it.
You're doing it. You're actually doing it.
It's like, oh, geez, Doc. Anything else? Any other notes?
So did everybody... what's everyone's feelings on Erica? Because I really thought I was going to hate the... not addition, but the amped upness of, like, the... What's the word? Now you help me. The more Erica this season, when I heard them announce, like, she's going to be a bigger presence in season 3.
I thought her arrogance was gonna...
I don't like overly precocious child characters. It's just like, okay. The smart aleck kid.
The first like, we'll say quarter of the season, I was like, oh, okay. And like, there were moments where I'm like, all right. But then I feel like I still just felt like she was kind of one note.
Yeah, I didn't dislike her as much as I thought I would. But I also, like, it wasn't as over the top as I thought it was going to be.
But I also didn't go... I also didn't feel like I enjoyed...
But I'm not a huge fan. I could do without her for sure.
Like... I don't know. I just, like, I think actually, like, one of my notes I made was, I wish I enjoyed Erica more. But I didn't.
Mm-hmm. But you can't spell America without
Erica. That was actually good. Her also talking about, the child endangerment.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I just remember, like, literally, not even 24 hours that Stephen King just tweeted. It's like, favorite line of all of Stranger Things, all of it. Child endangerment. A+. Love the show. And you're just like... I think
Stephen King, who in a cocaine influenced haze did a child orgy scene in it.
Yeah, but he did say like if he would write it nowadays, like he was even like 10 years ago, that would be the only thing he would take out.
Yeah, because he's sober now.
Well, yeah. It's amazing what a car crash will do to you.
I know, right?
Did anybody else get, the one thing that Erica did give me flashes of was Adventures in Babysitting?
Yes. Yeah. My wife loves that movie. It's a great movie. I've not seen it in years. Last time I saw it was when Sarah and I first started dating. And I haven't seen it, and it's a good movie. It's a good movie. It's
but she reminded me of the little girl in that, and like, crawling through stuff.
But I do agree with you, Ella, like, overly precocious child characters like irk me a lot. She didn't get to like quite the point of we'll say other precocious child characters, but she also did not change my mind about them.
Well, I think
same.
Her function, it might have been a little one note, which I was ultimately fine with, but it still makes me unsure how she fits in with everybody else. But she was there to kind of challenge the group, because you first think Robin's going to challenge the group, and then she's like, no, she drank the Kool-Aid.
She's kind of on board.
She's on board 100% what's going on. So
Erica's the foil.
So Erica's kind of the foil, and that can be a sucky thing, especially since she's going to be the arrogant, precocious child. Granted, she's a smart cookie, though, too, so some of that arrogance is kind of earned a little bit. But... at the end of the day, I don't know. My first thought is, I don't know if I really care to see her again, but like, I didn't mind her storyline. And also, it was nice too that I think that it didn't go too hard into it, but she kind of gave the impression that being a nerd is not cool, and she doesn't want to do that. So when Dustin was talking about My Little Pony, he was trying to say, he's like, who the hell cares? I know about My Little Pony. Here's everything about My Little Pony. And then at the end, he gives her Will's D&D stuff, because she was kind of, didn't she ask about it or something? And I was just like, that's fucking rad. Now, granted, do I care to see any more of that? Meh. But I mean, I'm not 100% sold on it.
I am still happy that we got to hear the wonderful line of Dustin saying, "Touch my butt, I don't
Yes.
care." that was great.
So who's everyone's favorite character in the show?
Or
Let's go with the season and then again in general. We'll bust that out. Yeah.
Aside from Ted Wheeler, I mean, he's got a special place in my heart. But if we want to talk about like main players, he's just so clueless. If we want to talk about main players, it's really hard. I will say that my favorite character is not 11. And I feel like that's everybody's go-to. I'm meh on her. Hopper or Steve, but this season, I already liked Hopper and Steve. The two that really grew on me a lot more this season were Max and then Maya, the new one.
Yeah.
Or Maya, what's her name? Robin.
Robin.
Yeah.
Travis?
Well, I haven't really thought about a favorite, honestly. I mean, it's just...
Who stood out to you?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. If there's a moment where you got really starting to get amped up that they might have died, it's probably a sign that they might be a character that you really...
Who do you least want to see die?
Yeah, that's actually a very good indicator.
Well, I'm not entirely convinced they're going to kill any main characters.
Which, that's a little
that was
sad.
never-
At some point, they may need to do that. And it can't
I
be
heard
Hopper.
a theory
'cause
that
you're-
it's going to be Steve.
That would fit with the pattern, definitely.
At the end of the whole thing, at the end of the last season,
Yeah,
I've heard
'cause-
people say,
'cause-
like, that's the one that would...
'cause-
he was supposed to die season 1, but they liked the actor so much they kept him
And-
around.
Because he's amazing.
Oh my god, that's...
I know.
Go-
I
go
don't
Medina.
know. I have no intel on
I
this.
know,
I'm just...
no, I know you don't, but the problem is that
Don't everyone get too sad.
We're not thinking about it.
No, the part is I'm thinking about, and then the writer in me is just like, at the end of the day, he doesn't really have...
It's one that would hurt, but he has no ties really to anyone. Like, he lifts right
His
out.
ties are that he's friends with everybody.
Yeah.
He watches over them as
Everybody would care. We would all care.
Yeah, but beyond that, his future is kind of not going anywhere. Robin actually kind of said she might be going to college, right? Or she hinted at, or or something.
I'm just seeing like an Iron Man / Peter Parker, but it's going to be Steve and
Dustin. Oh, you're right.
Oh god.
No.
That's it.
So anyway, Travis.
So, yeah.
Travis.
Who would you least
Now that
like to
we've
see die?
hijacked.
Well, I mean, I think that probably would be easier for me to say which character I can associate with the most. And honestly, if I were, I mean, I feel like I can relate a lot to Will. Really, I feel like I would have. He reminds me of a lot of the type of kid that I was at that age. And I mean, Noah Schnapp is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I mean,
he is
just,
a really good actor.
I think they described him as like discovering like this amazing sports car in the garage that you've never driven before, you know, in the second that like they had him, you know, for the first one, but he didn't really get to show his stuff. And then in season 2, holy
Because he's
crap.
technically a MacGuffin in the first season.
Yeah.
He doesn't get enough credit.
And I mean, I really had a lot of sympathy for his frustration and that character's frustration. And, you know, he got underserved in season 3, but I mean, what he brought to it was still pretty vital and pretty important part of it.
Going further, I think was interesting if you rewatch it. I started noticing Will in the background because he's always there, and with the boys, with Lucas and Mike, he's always there. And like, I think when 11 dumps him, I think he kind of laughs. which
Wait, that's Mike.
or when 11 dumps Mike, sorry.
Okay.
But Will's in the background.
Will's in the background
Okay.
because they're getting on the bikes, and that's when they get off the bus.
Oh, he
And-
laughs when she dumps Mike.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
he's in the background. They
dump
do
your
a shot of
ass.
Mike just doing his weird thing where he kind of stares at the camera. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry.
That's a good Mike face. Nobody can see it,
Like,
but...
no one can see it. Like, he like kind of his mouth is kind of like half open all the time, and no, this
He
is no
does kind
face
of
to
have
look
like
at.
this
brow,
lower
yep.
quarter like stare where he's like always looking down toward like the left corner.
And then it's like,
great.
did you lie to me? No. But in the background, you can see Lucas just like, the actor, he's like, my bro's in trouble here. I need to really, being tough. And I don't know if it's a break, but like I view it that it's not a break. I think it's like
No,
Will
it's
just being
Will
like,
going.
"This is ridiculous."
Now I gotta
Well, it's also
Yeah.
Will going. We can play D&D now.
That's true. He's happy.
But I
maybe.
started noticing him after that in all the
that's
scenes
cool. I
in the
didn't notice
background,
that.
and you can just see him.
He's always acting.
He's always just kind of
in it.
He's anxious, and you just and it's not even with the stuff that the mind flayer might be there. The spider senses you were saying. Which is really good. Yeah, his performance is on. I just feel like he gets passed over. So that's the sad thing is that I feel all his stuff is in those little moments where he's just kind of in the background. You don't. But
What happens when you have an ensemble of 14 people?
Season 4, the Will Byers season.
Will
Let's do
Byers,
it.
yeah.
And not just as the MacGuffin.
So it's not one because I'm indecisive and I can't pick just one because there's like a million people in the ensemble. It's 3. It's 3. I've narrowed it to 3.
all right, okay. I mean, it's not okay,
So-
Ella, but okay. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's okay.
I'm kidding. No, you're fine. You're
So
fine. I'm
it's
just
Hop,
razzing.
Stephen, Joyce.
Okay.
Like, I feel like Joyce never gets enough credit. Like, she's super smart and she thinks outside of the box. And, like, people are just like, oh, Joyce Byers.
I mean, the fact that she went to the library and got, like, electromagnetic, like,
and then she went to the
physics
science
books.
teacher. She's like, explain
What was the
magnetism.
science teacher's name?
Mr. Clark?
Mr. Clark. Yeah, his major appearance in this one is to show someone not sciencey science things.
Yeah.
With Weird Al playing in the background.
My Bologna, which was
My Bologna.
fantastic. Yeah. So Jim, Joyce, and
Steve.
Hopper. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Jim.
And I guess as a 4th character, because I think it's its own
Yes,
thing.
yes, do it.
Steve's hair.
Steve's hair.
I'll allow it.
I feel like
It seemed like it got a little greasy under the sailor hat this time.
Points.
Until he threw it away.
Points
Yeah.
for Steve's hair. There we go.
I feel like that's its own character unto itself, and
It
it's glorious.
is. And also, did anyone notice that when Dustin sprayed Lucas at the beginning, it's the Farrah Fawcett
Yeah, I
hair?
did see that. Yes.
which was really good. And also, if you thought any of those toys were like fancy dancy remoted up or whatever, they were not. They were the original toys, and they all had to maneuver them. So literally around every corner of that house where there's not a camera, there are people in the crew hidden trying to work them and watching a monitor to get them to work.
Oh, wow.
So, yay practical effects. And they
Nice.
say it took them all day.
I bet.
And it drove the kids started getting very antsy and frustrated doing it. And I was like, well, no shit. They're just standing there behind a wall waiting to do something.
That's what the acting business is, children.
That is.
Learn.
Back to one.
That is.
Back to one.
They do a good job. They're allowed to get front. No, they're
I
not.
know,
They
but
get
they
paid
need to
very
learn.
well.
They can learn today.
They do. They do.
I'd say this season, my favorite character was the most dangerous child murderer in the world, Alexei.
Oh.
Because that actor did so much
Yes.
while not speaking English, like spoke Russian the entire time. Mostly just it was all face part acting, which
Yeah.
I really appreciated. And like that's kind of one of the first like TV deaths in a long time that actually kind of like hit me
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, so he.
Now I have a question for you with
Okay.
him.
Yeah.
Didn't you feel though he was going to die though? No, like. But again,
I didn't think at that moment when he did.
I got you.
I thought it might have been more kind of in the Hopper sense of trying to stop the
Stop the
machine.
thing.
we'll
I
say.
got you. Okay.
But
fair enough.
it definitely like he was just that actor is so precious. I need
He
to
was
go.
good.
I need to look up everything he's ever done. Overall, I mean Hopper, but that's only because like that ending speech, Elle reading the letter,
Yeah.
had me sobbing like a baby. And then also somebody did like that whole, and I don't know, like I read it way too much, but someone did that whole like kind of screen by screen compilation of his daughter had like a blue hairband that she wore in her hair like before she got cancer, and then like so they show it like her in the ponytail, and then like later in the hospital like he's wearing it almost as a friendship bracelet, and like they show it more and more like throughout season 2, and then I think I may be wrong, but in season 3 it shows Elle wearing it like
really?
as an accessory.
Nice.
Like, so it's one of those, like, weird, very small things that you don't notice right away. But it kind of shows, like, how much of a sentimental person and character he is. And even though he was a major dick in this season, I really did love kind of the way he stepped into the father role.
Yeah, and that's hard because like granted, with his daughter, like, that was, what, 4 or 5, and then he's jumping to 11, who's, like, in her tweens, and it, like, he just jumped a whole bunch of steps.
And has a boyfriend.
Has
and,
a
like, doesn't know how
boyfriend.
to deal with it. And
That was some of the... I felt so weird and sad laughing at his misery, and because I might have to endure it someday, too.
Him smoking the cigarette and, like, reading over the script was so choice. It was so good.
Well, in the moment where he kind of like, yeah, I did that, and he's all happy of himself or whatever, gets back, and it's like, oh man, I sympathize with you so much.
Well, and then also, like, the scary dad moment where he, like, gets Mike in the car and he's like, you're gonna listen to me, and if you do, maybe I will allow you to continue dating my daughter. And I was like,
now,
and I can't even blame him at that point.
No.
Because Mike was such a
he
little turd.
he did that little whisper into her ear. I wanted to reach through the screen and choke him
I
out.
wanted to
Who
punch
wouldn't
him.
kick him out of the house? Yeah.
It was so...
Mike, you did this to yourself.
Good tween acting in this season overall.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh, man.
well, and just the whole like, yeah, they were like, you know, you know, doing whatever, and
Smug.
yeah.
Yes.
So like, yeah. So when Hopper saw that and he was getting pissed off, you're like, you know, fucking. Yeah, so that's the thing too. Is like, don't. Have you not seen Hopper? He saved
Right.
the rest the last
That
two
is-
seasons.
yeah,
You don't
no
fuck with
kidding.
Hopper. Like
Yeah.
even on this
Chief
level.
of police, maybe don't get on his bad side,
Right.
Mike.
And also, Mike, you weren't really the lead last season like you were in season 1. Let's calm those
like,
expectations.
him during that whole point, and then also Hopper just in the restaurant scene this season. It's like, how's your Chianti? It's Chianti. Oh, Chianti, yes. Love bottle of that. Like,
So, speaking of Hopper, though, because he was wearing the Hawaiian shirt by that point, did anyone actually see where they edited scenes from Stranger Things season 3 as the opening of Magnum PI?
It's
Yes.
glorious.
Yes.
Oh, it's glorious.
Hopper
Sorry,
PI,
I posted
yes.
it in the group.
Okay.
And actually,
It's
we'll include
magical.
it in the show notes. There's a, and Will, if I don't find this, I will be so sad. Because I mentioned one on another podcast, and I can't find the meme now. Like, it was everywhere on Facebook, and I can't find it. But I swear this should be somewhere. It's literally, the only thing they show is the helicopter. It says Magnum PI. Or maybe I think they even make it say Hopper PI,
Yeah.
and then it cut, and they're doing the theme song, and then it starts cutting into him just wearing the shirt and doing stuff, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder
It's-
if it got a copyright claim and they had to pull it.
better
It's a
not.
Magnum.
Someone has to have like a still of it somewhere.
probably,
Yeah. It's.
I have
fantastic.
seen one of him in the shirt, and it says, like, Miami City Vice.
Oh.
It's also pretty accurate.
So mine is for the overall show. I feel it wasn't. It took a while, but I would say what changed. It's now Steve. I love Steve. Like he's the character I don't want to die. Like him and Dustin both. I think I would probably have to stop and just grieve and try to go through all 5 stages of grief, 5 stages of grief before I can finish the show, and then I can start it over again with this 5 stages. I don't know how I would handle that.
Yeah.
Muppet face for a month. The ugly crying
it
would just be bad.
Because I just remember I was like, oh, he's going to get one punch too far, and then he'll be like Rocky, where he has the massive concussion, which I can now remember. He's getting fucked up. He
I
might
think
not be
the
able
hair
to-
protects him.
The hair has hurt him, but also protected him. So it's Steve. Steve's across the board.
We haven't talked yet about Elle losing her powers.
Yes, I thought about that second. I was like, we'll get back to it. Thank you for bringing that up.
Like,
yeah.
what do y'all think of that?
Yeah.
Like,
Hello.
I kind of like
Wow.
wondered if it was just her being weak when she like pulled the new Coke can. I did love the kind of new Coke.
Oh, good for Lucas for sticking up for New Coke because no one fucking else will.
But, like, I thought it was maybe just her, like, because later she has that thing with Hopper where she's like, my batteries are low, but they will recharge. And like, I wondered if it was just that. But then like later in the move out scene, she again.
It might never come back, but I think it was good that I liked that they did that, because then you knew that wasn't going to be, again, the Deus Ex Machina to save the whole season. Like, it wasn't going to... Because as long as she has her powers, oh, well, whatever.
Plus, she
She's
can't look
always
for
gonna
Hopper.
come in and... Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And also,
So-
she can't pull another mind flayer slug out of her leg. That scene.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh. Had to turn away.
Oh, me too. I was just like, well, I didn't turn away necessarily during when she was pulling out, but
When
like, when
Jonathan
was like sticking his
that
Yeah.
was the part. Yep.
man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it's just like, just move. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I could do it.
All right. Which I find weird. Like I'm granted, why? I don't know why. I'm fascinated by the science of how that slug took the powers, like, but it makes me very more intrigued about, which again is good world building of how the fuck did that thing do that, in that way. And I'm surprised it didn't do something else to her. Like how Will has kind of a sixth sense.
We don't know.
Well, that's true. We don't know
it
yet.
did.
But I loved it. And also to talk about her character, it will be more challenging for her and open her character up because it's an emotion. She'll be frustrated all the time because, something as simple as like, oh, that thing's all the way over there. I can pull it over, or I'm too short. I can't get that. I can pull it over. Things that are easy for me are now not easy for me anymore. And so there's a challenge there, I think, which will be interesting to see if they do it.
At the very least, her blood loss will be stopped.
That's true.
In its tracks.
That's got to be taking a toll,
Well, Travis, as a young lady who had a ton of nosebleeds as a child, because I was totally that kid.
Awesome.
Did
you bleed on a teacher?
No.
I got you beat.
No.
In high school, no less.
Oh.
It's one
Not
of
on
those like
purpose.
where
I should clarify.
the little bit that she does do, I was just like, that's nothing. That's nothing else.
Yeah. So, anyone else have any other thoughts, opinions?
Billy sucks.
Billy sucks. Yes.
Why didn't Jonathan just stay and get an apartment with Nancy? He's graduated high school, right?
And that was part of what led me to think that they were maybe graduated, like them like dressing in adult clothes and like sleeping in a house together.
They have graduated.
Weren't they a year behind Steve though?
No, I thought they were in the same grade.
I thought they were in the
with him.
same grade.
Behind. Okay, never mind.
I don't know. I thought they should be graduated by now.
It's one of those, yeah. So
now that makes me think though, wasn't Billy in the same class as them as well? Or no, was he a grade under?
I think he might have been in Steve's class. I don't know.
See, that's
I would-
fascinating.
Yeah, I'm
Back
pretty
and
sure he
look
was in
again.
Steve's class. Whatever.
So, I mean-
Steve was a
because I feel like Steve was
senior.
applying to colleges and Nancy was helping him when she was a junior. Because the whole dynamic was like when they first met, like she was younger and like, oh my god,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, she was supposed to be kind of a nerd, and he was the most popular guy in school. So it was
yeah.
like,
And then she got a brawl and it was all different.
Yeah.
Which is like a season 1 thing that happened.
I know. It was like the first episode or two. Because the second one is when they went to the thing, right? That Steve's house.
the party.
The party.
The party,
Where Barb,
yeah,
where
and
Barb
then-
meets her
Barb.
demise. Such simple times.
Remember the good old days? All right, we're going to end on this. You guys fucking rocked. Stranger Things fucking rocked. Fucking A.
What?
Get out of here without cheese! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time until you showed up, cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something! Because I'll tell you something! This is a happy place!